Good evening and welcome to the Power of Now, Inside, Outside on Wellness Wednesday. I'm Coach Mitchell.
And I'm Coach Darren.
And tonight we hope that we're going to bring you an experience to help you along your health and wellness journey. Coach Darren, our certified health and wellness coach, is going to walk us through some of the healthy benefits of growing your own produce and fruits.
Okay, all right. Well, what we just want to do is, several sessions ago, we talked about using the skins or the rinds from your fruits to make your natural tea. And what we have here, this is just, taking the skin from the pineapple and the, skin from an orange, boiling it, adding some cinnamon sticks to it, and you have natural tea, which you can then consume either hot or cold. This happens to be cold. Even, the smell, the aroma of it is great. So again, just something to add to your health and wellness, and also zero waste strategy.
Exactly. And you can add a little honey to sweeten it, but I mean, the natural sweetness from the pineapple does the job for us.
Yes.
But sweeten it to your likeness. Just don't use sugar.
Yes. Which I'm glad you mentioned that, because it was something that I recently, learned, which I want to share for people out there who are, if you're addicted to sugar, you really want to take as we talked about last night, you want to make a conscious choice to change, to eliminate the sugar, refined sugar that is, from your diet.
Right.
Because what I learned was for every, it's like 75 grams of sugar that you consume, it shuts down your immune system for 4 to 6 hours, say about 5 hours.
Wow.
Which then makes you more susceptible to, pathogens and, other diseases, or just getting sick. Now, you kind of figure 75 grams is a little more, I think, than what is in a can of soda. I forgot the actual numbers, but
it's a little more, because it's about 56 to 59 grams of sugar in a 16-ounce bottle of soda.
Yeah. So for those of you who are going through, whether it's canned soda or bottle, whatever, you're basically putting yourself at risk, not only from the soda being unhealthy in and of itself, but it's also shutting down your immune system. So you want to keep that in mind.
Now, Coach, when your immune system shuts down, does it cause inflammation in the body?
Yes, actually does. And we know that inflammation is the basis for pretty much every chronic disease out there. So a good question. We've done sessions before on the I Am Well platform on inflammation. So pretty much if you're dealing with anything from, diabetes, actually even cancer, all of the chronic diseases, the root cause, autoimmune disease, the root cause is
like
inflammation.
Lupus, you mean?
Yes, is inflammation in the body. So again, if you can either attend an upcoming session, or you just do research to really see how inflammation it really is destroying your body. The other thing too, and we don't want to get off track, but you asked a good question. And I shared before that, even Alzheimer's, is considered type 3 diabetes, because it's basically your brain is on fire and it's due from the inflammation in the body. So that's why you want to be mindful of the food you eat. You really want to try to be conscious of maintaining they call anti-inflammatory diet. So again, any questions, feel free to, reach out to us. So tonight we're going to share a recipe. Now, this recipe really has a history in several cultures. And I think like Hispanic cultures, that includes like, Mexico. You go to a Mexican restaurant, you will probably find, beans and rice. It happens to be a very healthy, meal, and a very inexpensive meal.
And it's filling based on the ingredients.
Yes. So people say, eating healthy is expensive. It does not have to be. So tonight we're going to, do several things, share with you the simple recipe that, again, is economical and it's healthy. And we're going to combine it with things that we got from our garden. Now, our garden's, yeah,
Absolutely.
our garden's not a farm yet, but it has
Hence
been.
the title, Container Gardening.
Yes, all right. Which is something else that we highly recommend, that you start growing your own produce. And again, it started out, well, I'm going to say I started out. Coach Mitchell is a little bit more experienced, so she's done the actual growing in the ground. But my humble beginnings were in, pots. So what you see in the still shot are several pots where you'll see that one of the plants has peppers.
A green bell pepper.
Yes. Now, before you might look at it and go, well, that's not really a huge pepper. And you're right, it's not a huge pepper. It's small because the environment. What's the environment? The pot. Now, connect that to other things we talk about, say, on our Tuesday session, which is why I just believe nature is such a good blueprint for how we should be living our life. That pepper is limited in growth because this environment is limiting it. If that same pepper was actually grown in the ground, that entire plant would be much bigger and would have more peppers growing on it.
Right, and so with the pepper would be bigger as well. So as you can see, the miniature growth on this pepper is probably caused by root bound, because I think you have a good view of the pot that it's in. But also, we want to make mention of the fact that this was a transplant pepper plant. It was grown in a pot with about 100 other seeds. And if you've been on any of our other videos, you know that one bell pepper, an average size bell pepper, the size of your hand, will produce about 300 seeds.
Well, at least the ones that I use, they're probably more like in the
150, 200 range.
Yeah,
so you have the potential to grow about 200 pepper plants. Coach Darren planted all of his seeds from one pepper in one pot. So it sort of crowded and stunted the growth of what he could have actually had he planted one seed in a pot alone. But nevertheless, it's still producing.
Yes.
The point is it's still producing. So we have a green pepper from seed. We have ghost peppers, which, if you've ever had a ghost pepper in your recipe, and if you like spice, you really want this pepper. I love heat, and I love the amount of heat that this pepper produces. And we have Cajun peppers. Cajun peppers are sometimes called Scotch bonnets, and they are really good for like Caribbean recipes. And we really like it in a vinegar or a vinaigrette. We make hot pepper vinaigrettes, and we use that in different dishes. But anyway, so tonight's recipe is going to be sort of semi outdoor indoor, meaning that some of the ingredients in the recipe we grew in our containers, and some we use from the shelf, right? So here we have, can you see? I hope you can see. From our garden, we've already shown you the peppers, but we've harvested tomatoes, poblano peppers, yes, from our garden, bell pepper, green bell pepper, as well as our yellow bell pepper. It's still turning. We had to take it off because the night started getting cooler, and as the temperature drops, you want to bring in your indoor crops to try to give them that last benefit of growth before the winter hits. But we also have a last minute watermelon that we harvested today, and it was ready for harvesting. Even though it's really, really small, it was one of the last fruit on the vine for the season. So we should be able to get at least some juicing and some dehydrating of the watermelon rind for our smoothies for the winter. We also have some key limes that we harvested this year. And we will be bringing in the key lime tree and probably showing you some of the key limes as they produce throughout the winter indoors. So, and these are so juicy. You would not believe the amount of juice that you get from one of these really small, what is that, about 2 inches in diameter from one of
Probably
these.
smaller than that.
You get more juice from this size key lime than you do from some of the lemons or limes that you know, purchase out of the store. So anyway, the recipe that I have for you tonight is black beans and rice with the homemade salsa. And the homemade salsa, I hope you can see this. It smells so amazing, but it tastes even better. And this is from the, again, semi-in and outdoors. Tomatoes and peppers from our garden. And we use some red onions along with some garlic and some parsley, a little bit of Himalayan sea salt to season it for our black beans and rice. Coach Darren, you want to talk about the one, not just the economical factor in saving from buying salsa from the store, but also being able to control the ingredients that go into your recipes. I won't say diet, but your recipes. So if you can just walk through the benefits.
Yeah. Well, I think we all know the benefits of, again, the black beans, and that's also brown rice. Now, you can make adjustments. You can have the white rice, but highly don't recommend the white rice. So you got the brown rice and the black beans, and you just cook them as per the directions for both. Some people soak their black beans overnight, which is what I do, and some of them will soak them for a couple of hours. But it's your choice.
The black beans.
Yes.
Here.
So once you do that,
Rice.
once you do that, you have the basis for this this menu. So and you can season your beans, to taste. I will add, depending on how I want to use the black beans, I will add different flavors. So you want to season them, based on your preference. And then after that, it's really just creating your salsa from, again, if you decide to start your own garden, which again, I highly recommend. And I just want to mention this. Why do I recommend that? Because, my approach is you want holistic health and wellness. And that means coming at, your total being, from all the different aspects. And spending time in nature is one of the things that will improve your health and wellness on many levels, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Absolutely. And you're able to control what goes into your body.
Yes.
You're able to control the sodium content, you're able to control the sugars, the starches, but you're able to control it. And again, this is really pennies on the dollar. And even if you're not growing your own veggies in your containers, making your own salsa, again, contributing your homemade recipes to your dish actually benefits you in the long run.
Yes.
Right? So again, Coach, with the homemade salsa, we like to add it to our black beans and rice. And I know I need to be in a restaurant right now, right? Because if this was served to you, if this was brought out to you, you would want to devour it. I get it.
So you have it.
You have it there. However, we have an addition because we really like spice. This is our homemade hot and spicy sauce from our ghost peppers and our Cajun peppers and some of our container grown garden tomatoes. So we enjoy a really spicy dish. You can just pour that right over your black beans and rice. And there you have a complete meal.
Yes.
A completely healthy meal. Again, brown rice, black beans, and garden vegetables. You really can't beat it, and you can't buy that from the store.
And again, it's like I said, economical. Oh, and because we also stress a zero waste strategy, one of the things you can do if you're growing a garden, all right, is, and this is only if your plants are outside. You may not want to do this if they're indoors, but the water from the black beans, you can use it to water your plants. And I really want to stress if your plants are outside, because the smell of the water is not pleasant, so you really don't want to do it indoors.
Exactly, because if you've ever smelled spoiled beans, you really don't want that scent in your home, because it lingers. It
Yes.
lingers. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Hi. Thank you, Dr. Holcomb. Dr. Thompson, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. But
So
go ahead,
again, so
Coach.
you have, like I said, very healthy, economical, and you can even lean to it being environmentally
Exactly.
friendly. And things, just want to go back to over here. Like I said, that watermelon, well,
Yes.
that, like I said, we haven't cut it yet. Don't know what's inside. That was the last surviving member of the watermelons that were planted this year.
Absolutely.
They kept going, bad. Again, I got to factor in, this is my first year, so, bear with me. But that one, like I said, came off the vine today. The vine broke. All the other ones, unfortunately, like I said, they died on the vine.
I just want to point out, Coach, that the bottom of the watermelon tells you the level of ripeness. I know people like to pluck the watermelon and they hear that, nice thud. But the bottom of the watermelon, the color, tells you the level of ripeness. If your watermelon has a butter yellow hue, then it's ripe and ready for picking. So this one, it's probably a little bit over ripened, because the color is a little bit more, I would say, intense than butter. So, and that's butter that you buy off the shelf. It's not butter that you churn, because butter that you churn is a rich yellow, right? So I think this is really ripe. And even if I pluck it or thump it, I can hear the level of moisture in the watermelon. So we probably will be able to eat the meat of this watermelon, but usually what we do is we use it for smoothies, and we dehydrate the peel for grinding down to a powder and adding to our smoothies. So either way, we're going to get the nutritional value from this little mini homegrown watermelon.
And then the limes are, again, we took those off of our, we'll say, key lime tree. It's still in plant form, but it's been producing. Now, again, for transparency, they came from a plant. We purchased a plant that was already starting to produce the key limes, but it's been producing since we've had it. It's been continuously producing, has new growth now, as well as some of the other pepper plants and our tomato plants, which are still outside, are still producing new growth.
And can I just let our viewers know that I've made 6 mini key lime pies, as well as a key lime pie from our key limes. And we love key lime aid. We, drink that as well. And we use the rinds or the pills for different desserts and our teas. Okay.
So I'm just curious, how many of you, whether you're viewing this live or if you view it later, please let us know, are you on your own health and wellness journey? And we want to connect this to our top discussion last night, Coach Mitchell, where we were talking about making conscious choices.
Right.
And living a really a holistic health and wellness, it has to be a conscious choice.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have to change a lot of habits. Your intentions are going to have to change. So you'll want to get rid of all of the junk food, the ultra, processed foods, and all the sugary things. And with that is, you don't have to do it in one shot. You can, but you don't have to. You can take incremental steps. And I tell you, when I say, if you combine the gardening, if you integrate that in your life, it's going to help you with your health and wellness because it's going to bring you closer to the source of your food, which will then change your whole mindset.
Absolutely.
So everything just works together.
Absolutely.
So, was there anything else that we need to say about the sauce? You know, you probably pretty much already know that you could buy a bag of black beans for what, $1.50, 60 cents.
Right.
Bag of rice is pretty much, I guess, a 5-pound bag of rice. I forgot.
About $2, $3.
Yeah. And you get multiple meals out of it if you make a large enough, pot of beans and rice. You can become creative with how you use them. We showed a black bean burger, one of our earlier sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, do that with the black beans. Also, if you actually wanted to add to this, it's going to move you out of the economic, stage, but you could add bread to that. Now, I know the first response is, ooh, bread. And I would say the same thing. Yeah, you want to stay away from the bread. If you choose bread, you want to opt for sourdough bread. And again, something I recently learned, I never made the connection because for years, I've been eating things like, whole wheat bread, brown, yes. But I found out recently, and if anybody else has, if you have different information, by all means share. But I found out recently that sourdough bread is actually healthier than whole grain bread because the dough is fermented. And fermented foods are always healthier for your digestive system.
Exactly.
I never made the connection. Sourdough. It was like, duh, yeah.
Sauerkraut.
Yes. Yeah. Which, by the way,
Vinegar.
yeah. We have our first, actually doing our first homemade sauerkraut as we speak. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we will be able to share how that comes out. And it was getting simple: cabbage, water, a little salt, and put it in the joint. Yeah.
And time.
And let nature do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
These are also other excellent ways for reducing food waste. So if you were to have something like you got a head of cabbage and you're like, oh, I don't feel like cooking that cabbage. I don't think I'm eating it, but I will chop it up, stick it in a jar, put some water on it, throw a little salt in it and let it do its thing. Now I have sauerkraut. And same thing with other items, like I said, we will dehydrate if something is not, we're not going to consume it.
Right. Or if it's on its last legs, mm-hmm. If you have something that at the end of its life cycle in the fridge or on the counter, like we do the farmer's market and, a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits, they don't have a very long shelf life. So what we'll do is we'll put them in the dehydrator and ground it down.
Yes.
So it's, if you're looking to optimize and maximize your dollar so that it stretches, and we know we are in a time where, food is at an all-time high, food scarcity is real, you have options, especially if you have an air fryer, because the air fryer has the option to dehydrate your food. So you can dehydrate your herbs, your greens, your vegetables, your fruits. It's unlimited.
Yes.
You can even take the seeds from various vegetables like your pumpkins or your squash and dehydrate them, and you have a snack. You have pumpkin seeds or, different seeds that you can consume, sunflower seeds. It's not that difficult when you know.
Yes. So it's really just changing your mindset and changing certain habits. I hope in the upcoming session to also share with you how to make your own superfood powder. You can go into any health food store or even to CVS and you can see that there's a whole line of superfoods.
16 ounces for $30, $40.
Yes.
Well, you can make your own pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. You can buy frozen vegetables, and dehydrate them. And I'm going to show you just some of the superfood powders that I've made, and I'm still in that experimental phase, but it's doable, and it's really not time consuming. Someone asked me, is it time consuming? It's just, how do I spend my time? Do I spend 15 minutes doing this or 15 minutes doing something that's not going to benefit me?
Or if you're dehydrating your vegetables or your fruit to make your super food powder, you're sleeping. So you're not really spending any time and energy other than the prep work and getting it in your air fryer.
Yes.
So I think that next week's session will be on how do you dehydrate and make your own superfood powder.
Yes. So anything else you want to add, Coach Mitchell?
I think that one other thing that I want to show our viewers are my pineapple plants. I have been experimenting with pineapples for the last year. And I just want to show you my babies. These are my babies. They've become such habits of mine that I am really enjoying watching my ability to nurture and grow these bromeliads, but I am just amazed at how, I'm all over off camera, I'm amazed at how nature reproduces itself. And once you have the technique down, the possibilities are unlimited. They are limitless, I should say. This pineapple plant here, the largest one here, I have been growing for about a year. And I believe it would have been bigger had it not been transplanted multiple times, because as you guys know, I relocated. So I had to dig it up, pot it, and bring it to my new location. And then I had to repot it a third time. So even though it has been traumatized by being relocated and repotted several times, it still survives. And there's even new growth as I speak. And this is about a year old. This particular plant is less than 7 months old here. And it is growing at such an accelerated rate. And again, I'm just amazed at how nature reproduces and recreates itself. This, again, is harvested from a pineapple that I bought from the store. And I just took the top off, rooted it in a little water for about 2 weeks, and then planted it in soil. And this is the result. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take to produce fruit, but I don't care. For me, the fruit that it has produced so far is happiness, because I am happy when I look at it. I'm happy that it has done such a tremendous job in growing to where it is to date, that I'm happy, I'm satisfied. If it never produces another pineapple, I'm happy.
Yes. And she has about 7 of those plants.
Yeah, I had to stop because I have 7, and they're all as healthy and or more healthier than these 2.
Yes. Now, the way she feels about her pineapple plants is how I feel about a lemon plant. Again, the lemon plant was something that I grew early on, and it was, let me just put a seed in a pot and let's see what happens. And it started growing, and that also has been transplanted, from, I grew it in New Jersey, and then it came down here. Plus, I had also repotted. But now it's starting to look like a small tree when you begin to look at the stem. Again, it may take another year or so before it starts producing fruit. But all it took was basically some watering, some sun, and again, you let nature do its thing. So I think, that, and then pretty much everything else, like I said, the tomatoes, the peppers, all of those things were really just planted from seeds.
Hi, Auntie. Thanks for watching. Yes,
So I'm like Coach Mitchell. Yeah, there's just a certain joy out of, just watching something grow, and you're taking satisfaction that you took part in growing something you're going to consume. It may sound simple. For those of you out there who've been doing it for a while, you're probably like, yeah, been there, done that. But trust me, when I've met other people who've gone through the same thing, we just kind of laugh because we share that same experience. Like, you just see something grow, and when it actually produces, you are really thrilled.
Yeah. And I just think that no matter, I have my mom, my aunts that have been gardeners all of their lives based on where they came from, based on their history. But they still get joy and feel the pleasure and satisfaction that watching something that they planted and nurtured with their hands, their labor of love, grow and produce, it still brings joy and satisfaction. So no matter how long you've been in it, no matter how new you are to the experience, I think the satisfaction of just watching something grow from a seed or just a plant, a small plant, brings joy and satisfaction to the spirit because it connects you back to nature.
Yes. And then you see how all that gets rolled into your overall health and wellness.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. Any other last points?
Nope.
All right. If not, we thank you for joining us tonight. And remember, if you don't start now, there will be no next. I'm Coach Mitchell.
And I'm Coach Darren.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday for hopefully will be another empowering session for the power of now. Have a great night.